G'day everyone, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Right, this was Monday the 29th of December. Went out morning, it was just on 6 o'clock. I was wet by 6 o'clock. Now I'm just trying to find my pots. I'd actually located them, and then as you'll see, I come alongside, then I realised, oh, I haven't got any gloves on. Rookie mistake. As you'll see later, the pot rope gets rather fouled with a bit of weed and slime, and it's hard to handle. So the gloves I've got, they're sort of rippled and that, and they make a sort of a good purchase when I'm trying to manhandle it up and over the actual capstan for the pot rope. And you see here, I realised, came alongside, oh no, let's go back, take two. So going back around, you see the boat's bobbing around a fair bit, and that was Monday. I caught up on the ramp after this, which I got in at about 7 o'clock. Met one of my friends, Ofer, and he went out on Saturday, and he said it was worse on Saturday. This was probably one of the worst times I'd been out, and hopefully the GoPro will give it justice. I actually got thrown around a fair few times, especially when you're solo, when you're trying to bring the pot up, you're operating the capstan, and you've got a couple of, you sort of doing concurrent activities, and then suddenly you're not sort of eyes on. Next, you know, a wave will sort of just push over, and then you overbalance. So I definitely got thrown around a bit at one stage there, thinking this was getting just close to, no, this is not good. Don't see it actually, when we actually head back in, it starts getting white caps everywhere. So I got it up, there's a bit of weed on the rope. Now there you can see, and actually get better as the video goes on, how much wind and the current, how much you can see now the pot rope. Now I've got that, now I've got to manhandle that. So I'm basically pulling the whole boat against wind and the current. So it takes, once again, doing it solo. Always good to have someone with you, but sometimes having someone with you can't rely on. They say they'll meet you at the boat ramp at a certain time, and they're not there. And I like to get in and get out. Once again, you can see me, I'm just manhandling it. Have a look at the rope, you can see a bit of slime. It gets better, especially when we come up to the dog bone, which is the excess rope, which is sort of like all part of the whale mitigation, and also preventing a heap of rope hanging out and potential prop strike. I try to just get, the first one I'll get one turn around, and as I get a bit more, I'll then put about 2 turns around. Just makes the pot winch work just a little bit easier, or makes work less tedious than just the one. As you'll see, it also works on like a dog clutch, where it'll overrun, and if it gets too much weight, the actual capstan will just free spool off. So then you've got to catch that all again. I got it right now, and now I'm just moving over. You can see just by the pot tipper, just down on the deck, is the actual switch. So now I'm working it. I think I got 2 turns. I tried to get 2 turns. I always get there, you're coming up to the dog bone. That becomes problematic, trying to get that, because now I've got to try and, the capstan won't take all that, so I've got to do it by hand. I spared you all the drama of just pulling up a rope. This was the first pot, got donuts, and actually the bait was taken. Now you could sort of say there was nothing around. There is anecdotal evidence that people come and take your pots and just sort of raid it. A couple of times there I'm sort of a bit sceptical if my pots have been taken, because talking to everyone else they seem to be getting Crays. But anyway, it's part of over in WA off the Garden Island, you just got to take it with a grain of salt. Here we go, baiting up. Alright, next time we go to the second, this is now coming up to the second pot. I got on this, it was a jumbo and also a cacker. You see, cacker, for those that know, are basically crays that are undersized, the 75mm. You'll see me, I'll use a gauge. I was quite surprised, it's probably the biggest jumbo I've ever caught. Would have been easy 1 kilo. You can actually see that small. I knew straight up that didn't make size. It was a male. I gauged it just in case, but it was well undersized. And back it went. Here's another angle of that same lifting that pot. Coming up, there you'll see bits of, if you look closely on the pot rope, you'll see that slime that gets really slimy. That's why I'm wearing gloves. This is where it gets difficult when you're just, once again, doing solo. I'm trying to use the winch to pull it up, and then there's over center, and then it comes over. I had to adjust. That pot tipper had 3 holes. The first hole, when it came, it was down the bottom. So it was only when I realised, hang on, this is was just too much effort, and finally realised I'm going to adjust it. So I've got it on the top hole. So now the winch actually sort of helps as a fulcrum and pivots it over. You can see the small cacker. And actually it's giving you a good how much swell this boat was moving around. Yeah, I just threw it. Now you'll see the jumbo. This was a big cray. I tried to actually take, you got to, by law, take the middle swim flipper off. It got too difficult because he was really mucking around. So in there, I thought, no, I'll throw him back in just to the esky, and I'll deal with him later. Later on, actually I didn't have the glove, and I picked him up out of there just to check to make. I forgot this thing, see if it was a female with either a tar spot or with eggs, or what they call a jenny, and it actually got me. What happens is the tail curls around, and there's got all spikes, and it got me good. And there was a fair bit of blood. So I'm just throwing out a bit of the old, that had been, the bait, that had been in there for roughly 3 days, 4 days. Because when did I pick it? Christmas Day. Here I am, just getting it all settled up. Going now, I'm using just tuna heads. I would like to get some orange roughy, because for all accounts the orange roughy lasts a bit longer. Because I try to go out every second day, but the weather, those who know Western Australia, it's sort of hit and miss. And actually at this time, the boat ramps are just full because everyone's trying to get the whites. I'm not too fussed. I'd rather have, I can't really tell the difference. I've caught whites and reds. I'm happy with either. That big jumbo red, that ended up going into a pickling. So which I'm trying to now get my pickling recipe down pat. So my second attempt, see how it goes. So now, once again, as you know, I'm trying to keep my pots now close within at least 50 metres of each other, because I just don't want to spend my time chasing. Now I'm looking at the where the other pot is. Yep. Right, what I'm doing now is moving into position just near the other pot. About, what was I? I was about 20, 30 metres away from it. Just positioning, try to find, now you'll see I'm looking at a spot, a sand spot, close to the reef. Once again, not an exact science, you're just trying to get everything in position as best as possible. You can see the swell there. Yeah, it's a pretty good idea of what it was like out there. So coming in, looking for it. I think I slow down a bit now. I think I've spotted the other pot. Now I'm just trying to keep, as I said, within that approximately 20-30 metres, even up to 50 metres away, so I don't have to go searching. Coming around, you can see, yeah, doesn't show it well. I was just coming around and you see the C state there. There we go. Looking all around, looking for the best spot. I think I was still trying to. I was on the MFD, looking at where my last waypoint was, and then because I actually marked that pot, then I'm just trying to find an actual visual. Coming back, and yep, still looking for it, trying to find it. Yeah, it was definitely she was a lumpy ride out there on the Monday. So as we're trying to find it. Right now, I'm looking for it. Just turning the actual motor around. I'm in neutral, but still the motor will act as a bit of a tiller, and I'm just trying to bring it around. Yeah, once again, you're not seeing where I am, the reef and the sand. Actually, no. I was just trying to think you could see the sand patch and the reef, but no, it's not getting a good enough representation. But what I did, I think I was only doing, just trying to come into the sea a bit, looking down in the reef. Actually, I had a bit of, I think I might have put about 2 knots on, I think. Looking down. Yep, I'm in neutral now. Allowing the sea and the swell. Yeah, there's a good overhead. You can see it's basically all sand. I've given it a little bit of a nudge of speed here, just to try to move more closer to the reef. See the dark, bits of dark in that, there, bits of reef. Yeah, come on closer. Just trying to find probably the sweet spot between reef, not right on top of the reef because I don't want to get it jagged and then lose a pot. And then once again, you don't want to be too far away, you don't want to be all in sand, so you just got to find that sweet spot where that pot there actually has got a bit of weed growth in that, so the crays will probably find a bit of protection, a bit of shelter if they're moving, once they start moving out to the deep, because I'm out at 5 fathom. So the next stop after that is basically the continental shelf where they want to get onto, then ride that Lewin current up north towards Geraldton, Kalbarri. There's a good shot. You can actually see just in the middle ground the reef and then the sand patch coming in, still looking, still trying to find that. I think I found the pot now. Now it's just a case, bit of manoeuvring, getting all set up. Yep, let's see, we get in there yet? Still just trying to find it, still working it, looking for an ideal spot. There you go, it's as good as it's going to get. I think I gave it a little bit now. I'll come over a bit of reef now. See the dark, then you can see where the light is. Even with the GoPro, there's a bit of that shine off the water, not sort of giving a good. That's looking straight east. As what was it now? It's about 7 o'clock in the morning. Looking down, trying to find that spot, or a spot. I think I gave it just a little bit of juice just to move it around. Sometimes even when you're in neutral, just using the basically the motor as a tiller, because the current was fair enough. I was getting pushed around even when I was in neutral, with the wind and the current will push you around. So you then just use the tiller or the motor as a tiller, and then you just sort of steer that way. Yeah, looking down, yep, I think I sort of coming up. Just make sure I didn't get a hook up, and just center down. I'll go there, I'll mark it on both the Lowrance and the Simrad MFDs, just 2 waypoints. And even then, you think I'll be right on top of it. When I'm coming back out to look for them again, I'll have to go search, and I don't know. Yeah, they just, yeah, it's not, once again, the accuracy. So that's that. Now it's a case of cleaning up the deck space for the run home. Just setting up now, pulling everything in. I think I'll get the bucket of water, just get some seawater, wash all that weed off around the capstan and around the pot lifter, the pot lifter. Give it a clean up. Just makes it a little bit easier when I get home. I just put the, then I'll rinse the motor and then give the boat wash down, get all the salt spray, all that dried salt, look after the boat best you can. Pulling that in as it bangs around if you just leave it out. Then we'll get set up for the run home. Here, just collected some salt water to boil up the cray, or I'm going to blanch it for the pickling, because the jumbos, I reckon, that just when they get to that size, they're not worth a bit too big, a bit too chewy. Even if you do steam them, boil them, or even barbecue, I like just the ones that are size or just a little bit over. I think now you'll get to see the cray again. I'll try to have another attempt at pulling the swimmer tag off. Definitely had some go in it. Give the old glove there. You can see actually a good shot there. Just you see the other side. The tiller then was the reef and the sand patch. Now our run home.